Today, we're jumping into this really dramatic story from the royal annals. It's all about these two kingdoms. Think of them as brother kingdoms, really, but they end up on completely different, I mean wildly different paths.
And that really brings us to the core question here. For one of these kingdoms, the answer was, well, decades of stability. But for the other, the answer was written in blood.
So on one side, you've got the southern kingdom of Judah, which is our picture of stability. And then you have the northern kingdom, Israel, just completely consumed by violence. Their stories for this period could not be more opposite. All right, let's start in the south. We're going to look at Judah first, because they really set the standard here. They're our baseline for what stability looked like in this pretty chaotic time. So while all this craziness is about to go down in the north, Judah has this one guy, this anchor, King Azariah. He is the constant, the steady hand, while everything else is just falling apart up north. And get this, 52. That's the number, 52 years. I mean, just think about that for a second. Over half a century, the same guy is on the throne in Jerusalem. That's an incredible stretch of time.
Now look, this stability doesn't mean everything was perfect. Not at all. The source tells us Azariah did what was right, but, there were some big exceptions. He even ended up with leprosy and had to live in isolation while his son Jotham basically ran the show. But, and this is the absolute key, the way his reign ended is what matters. He died a natural death and his son took over without any drama. That peaceful transition, that's the source of Judah's strength.
Okay, so you have that picture of stability in your head? Good. Now let's flip the coin. Because while Azariah's long reign is happening down south, the story in the northern kingdom of Israel is, well, it's a whole different ballgame.
So in the same 52 years that Judah has one king, Israel burns through five different kings. And yeah, a couple of them lasted a little while, but some of them, wow, they barely had time to get comfortable before they were gone. And the chaos, it starts right away. King Azariah, he's on the throne for a whopping 6 months. That's it. Then a guy named Shalem plots against him and, as the text says, kills him right out in the open, in front of the people. So what happens to Shalem, the guy who just seized the throne? Well, his reign lasts for 1 month. Just one. Then he gets attacked and killed by the next guy in line, Menahem. You can already see the pattern here, right? This brutal cycle is just getting started. All right, so Menahem manages to hold on for 10 years. His son, Pekahiah, takes over. You think maybe things will calm down? Nope, he lasts 2 years. Then one of his own top officers, a man named Pekah, gets a crew of 50 guys together and murders him right inside the palace. And what about Pekah, the guy who just killed his king? He actually has a pretty long reign, 20 years, but it doesn't matter. His end is exactly the same. Another conspiracy, this time led by Hoshea, and he's assassinated too. Let's just tally that up. 4 kings out of 5 are murdered. It's just unbelievable. So you have to be asking why. What is going on here? Well, the text gives us a pretty consistent answer. It says almost every single one of these kings did evil because they followed the sins of Jeroboam. He was their very first king. This is pointed to as the original sin, the source of this deep internal rot that's just eating the kingdom alive. Now, all this infighting, this constant backstabbing, it doesn't just happen in a bubble. It makes the kingdom incredibly weak, totally exposed. And you better believe someone was watching. A huge, formidable power was rising on the horizon, just waiting for a chance to pounce. And it raises a really critical question, right? What happens when a country is so consumed with fighting itself? It puts a giant target on its own back. It becomes weak, vulnerable, easy prey for anyone looking to expand their territory. And then we get this line in the text, right in the middle of Menahem's reign. It's a game changer. The Assyrians show up. And when they look at Israel's chaos, they don't see a mess. They see a golden opportunity. And the price Israel paid for this weakness was just devastating. First, King Menahem has to pay a bribe of 1,000 talents of silver, a massive amount of money, just to make the Assyrians go away. But they don't stay away. Later, during Pekah's reign, they come back. This time, they don't just want money. They take land, huge chunks of it. And then they take the people, deporting them to Assyria. The kingdom is literally being taken apart, piece by painful piece.
All right, let's zoom back out. It's time to put these two kingdoms side by side and look at the final score for this 52-year stretch.
And when you lay it out like this, man, the difference is just staggering. Judah in the south, one king, 52 years, a peaceful succession. Israel in the north, 5 kings, a bloodbath of 4 assassinations, and a foreign invasion that's carving them up.
The key word for Judah is continuity. That's it. When Azariah finally dies, his son Jotham, who was already basically running things, just steps right in. No fuss, no fight, the government is secure, the transition is seamless. But in Israel, it's the total opposite. All those assassinations created this constant power vacuum. It left the kingdom hollowed out, weak, and just an easy target for a predator like Assyria. They ended up fractured, smaller, and just incredibly vulnerable. And that leaves us with this one big thought to chew on. The story of these two kingdoms, it's not just some dusty old history. It's a really powerful look at what makes a nation stable or unstable. And it asks a question that is, just as relevant today as it was back then.